Alright, in this lesson, the first thing I want you to recognize is this where we've been talking about, which is square roots. That's just a number inside this little guy. That's the function in your calculator. It is opposite the x squared button. Okay, to get to the x squared button, you hit the blue button, x squared, and you'll get the square root house. The second thing I want you to recognize is that we've been talking about this word irrational, which is simply a number that goes on and on and on without repeating. Alright, here's some examples of numbers that are irrational. You're going to see that in just a second. First, I want to go back one step and let's make sure we're on the same page here. And this is how you use this button. If you have a perfect square, just like this, okay, this has a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This has a side length of 5. Also, we call this the root. It is called the root of the area, which you've been taught to take the 5, multiply it by this 5, and you wind up to recognize that there are 25 perfect squares, also called the area. Okay, of that perfect square. Side length of 5, 5 times 5 is 25. That's how many perfect squares make up the area of this perfect square. In your calculator, you're going to use this function right here. It is called the square root button. It's right there in blue. It's the inverse of finding the area, which is x squared. So you hit the blue button to get the square root house up. And since the area of this perfect square is 25, put it underneath the square root house and you get this side length of 5. So to go this way from 25 to 5, you use the square root button. If you wanted to go 5 and simply find the area of that square, you would simply hit 5 and x squared. 5 squared is 25. The root of 25 as an area is 5. Let's go back to your assignment. And now it is simply asking you to take the square root of each number. Square root of 28 is 5.29. Here's what I'm looking for you to do. 5.29. You can stop after the second decimal place after the decimal. Okay? Figure out exactly where this lands on the number line. Always, when you're writing a number line, on bottom of the number line goes the standard form. The standard form is the decimal, 5.29. You're going to write the complex form or the non-standard form of that number above. The square root of 28 is the same number, you can see right here, as 5.29. I'll look down at number 3. We'll take the square root of 22. Simple as that. 4.69. Stop at the second number after the decimal. 4.69. Figure out where that lands on the number line. Below the line goes the standard form, and above the line goes the non-standard form. Square root of 22 is the same number as 4.69. It lands right between the counting numbers 4 and 5. That's what you're doing on the front. It is simple as that. On the back, there's a few more complicated questions. You're going to do the same thing, square root of 19, and place it on the number line. And then some more real-world questions here as you go along. The one I wanted to point out was number 4. Here's exactly the situation we're talking about. It's giving you the area of this perfect square is 76. And it's asking you, what is the estimate of the closest length of each side? Each side is considered the root of the area of that number 76. If I want to go back to the side length, remember, you're going to use the square root button in your calculator. Take the square root of 76, and you're going to get the root of that number. In this case, 8.71. What is that closest to? A. Use your square root button to go through and find the answers to each of these front and back. Good job.